Yeah. Well, there's a lot more background noise than you notice until you hear it on a really fine. Yeah.
Okay, one thing, I'm not going to be on the recording at all. So when I ask a question, if you could kind of rephrase the question in your answer. So if I ask, what's your name, don't just answer, say, my name is, blah, blah, blah. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
So if I say, how long have dogs been going to the beach? Don't just say 7 years. Just draw it
Okay.
out. Good? Yeah, I'm good. You on? Yeah. Well, just tell us your name and what you do up here at UNCW.
Okay. Well, my name is Courtney Hackney. I'm a professor of biological sciences, and my specialty includes wetlands, particularly coastal wetlands, and coastal ecology.
Okay. And how long have you been here?
I've been at UNC Wilmington for about 22 years.
And you take students out on the rivers and.
Well, we can't take students out on rivers anymore unless they're on a research project. We have liability issues, so students don't get to go anymore. It'll stop in a minute.
You used to take them out there?
Yeah, we used to take, up until probably 7 or 8 years ago, we took students out into the field all the time as part of labs, and now basically anything on the water is prohibited unless we have staff to do it, and we don't have enough staff to take us out. It's really unfortunate because that's one of the beauties of being here close by the ocean, is to be able to take students out, and we can't do it anymore. So it's the way it is.
Yeah. So what do you think about the inlet move?
Well, the inlet appears to have been moved. The real question, I don't think, ever was whether it could be moved. The real question revolved around who was going to pay it, whether it was cost effective, and whether the inlet would stay where it is, operating the way it is, that was planned. That's the big question. And now that it's moved, we're going to get to watch what happens. It's a wonderful experiment if you're willing to spend the money on it. And my concern always was who was going to pay for it. And I guess the New Hanover County citizens have essentially agreed through their elected officials to pay for it.
So what do you think is going to happen to the inlet?
Well, I would be willing to bet it's going to start heading south. And the question really is, how fast does it move south, and what does it do in the interim? Does it affect the intracoastal waterway? I mean, we're pretty sure it will in some ways. Does it silt the waterway in? We just don't know.
So what are some of the problems with, see, I wanted to do a project on the inlet move and its ramifications and stuff like that, but we're actually kind of focusing more on Dr. Beach, so I have to kind of break the question. I don't think it's that big of an issue, but my professor says that people are really fired up about it. Are they? Are other people?
Well, the inlet move involved a number of accommodations for permitting. Several of those accommodations involved the county and local municipalities agreeing to protect certain species that were supposed to have been protected before but weren't. And as part of that, the county agreed to police dogs in the area that's now going to have greater access because it's now attached to Wrightsville Beach, where before it was across the inlet. The birds in question aren't just endangered species, but migrating waterfowl as well. In the past, that was the one place that people could take their dogs and let them run free. Individuals who had no interest whatsoever in the inlet move, plus or minus, didn't care about the cost, whether they were paying for it or not, suddenly became very involved in the inlet move when they discovered that their access or their freedom of letting their dogs run was going to be impinged. And that's now happened. And there are a lot of upset people who just do not care at all about the inlet, but really care about this change that they perceive as having negative consequences on them.
Which is if they can't let their dogs run free out there anymore.
That's right. Their dogs are no longer able to run free. I doubt seriously if there's going to be much difference in terms of the numbers of dogs out there. I suspect it'll still be the same. And this really was an issue that should have been addressed before, long before there was an inlet move. There were clearly problems with dogs running free and fights and the risk to people being attacked by dogs running free. Most people don't appreciate that that can happen, and they're always sure their dog isn't going to be the one to do it. But the fact is, it happens quite frequently, and it's happened out there a number of times.
So, is there any documentation or anything that you know of about the dogs and the birds, dogs eating birds or anything?
No, it's been reported a number of times, and it doesn't take very long to just see that happening if you go out and watch the dogs run. And remember, these birds, many of them have migrated long distances, and for birds, migration is an extremely important part of their life cycle. They burn an enormous amount of energy migrating, and often they just barely get from place to place with the energy reserves they have. And if they use up more than they need to just by having to constantly go up and land, it can make a difference between them surviving to wherever they're going or them being able to nest. It is an important part of their life cycle that was being disturbed.
So how will the inlet move? How does the inlet move? How's that going to affect Doggy Beach as far as the habitats that the birds have? Because I know before it was kind of like marsh, flatlands, wetlands, and now it's looking like it's going to be more like the other end of Russell Beach, which is more just sand. I mean, I don't think birds really appreciate that terrain as much as they would.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe less birds would be?
Well, I guess the question is, how does this move of an inlet affect birds' use of that area? And there are a number of facets of that. I think that the back area behind what is now the beach is going to continue to change. The marsh is going to grow there now, whereas before it was so active the marsh didn't grow. That also was the area where the dogs tended to frequent and run free. So that part of it is going to change in several ways that are natural. The fact that dogs won't roam free probably will affect the birds that might be in there. Largely, though, I think that the big impact is going to be the part of what was Figure 8 Island that now is melded onto Wrightsville Beach. That part, I think, is going to become more dune-like. There's certainly going to be overwashes. And remember, a lot of these bird species like that overwash, that moving sand kind of habitat. The part of the island that is now still Figure 8, that will in some ways be more protected because the inlet will probably keep people and dogs from getting over there as frequently. And so that may actually be better habitat for them. It remains to be seen. There always were people on the other side walking dogs from Figure 8 Island, but they just were not nearly as numerous.
I've actually never seen it out there in the summertime, Doggy Beach. How many dogs go out there? I mean, have you seen just lots and lots of dogs? Or?
It's not something I go out there and count, but having taken my own dog out there and not let him run loose, I would say that in the couple of times that we've been out there, we normally encountered a dozen to 15 dogs running wild, coming over and chatting.
Yeah. In just a few hours when you're out there.
Just probably in an hour.
Yeah.
And typically there were real peak times too, right at dusk. And at dawn there are quite a few people out there walking the dogs. And that is unfortunately a poor time to be out there because that's when the birds are trying to come in and land and rest for the night. But there are certainly peak periods.
What species of birds are out there that are particularly endangered?
Well, the piping plover, of course, is one that is most concerned relative to endangered species. But there are just about every other shore bird that occurs in the area out there. I've even seen peregrine falcons landing at night in some of those areas. So that's another endangered species. But pelicans, seagulls, you just go down the list and they're out there.
So where does the piping plover like to nest?
Well, they like habitats that are moving. They like barrier islands that are disturbed, and of course that's a habitat that is not really available anymore. Most of our barrier islands have been stabilized and people live there, and those few that haven't are fairly rare. This is not an abundant species anyway.
What do you think the leash law is going to do to Doggy Beach? Do you think it's going to help? I mean,
I think that this should have been done long before the inlet was moved. There were really some serious problems out there, and the fact was no municipality wanted to address it. It was sort of not county property, so there were no officers out there. It was not Wrightsville property. They didn't enforce county leash laws. And this was really a bad scene waiting to get worse. So in some sense, we might consider ourselves lucky that this happened. Instead of somebody being mauled badly and this becoming a subject of news shows, we simply are dealing with people who are upset because their dogs can't run.
So who exactly is it that's against the leash law? Is there an organization or a group of organizations or just people in general? Or?
Well, I'm not sure exactly who is against it, other than the people who historically used it and let their dogs run free. And certainly most of those people have dogs that are well-mannered and are not a problem. But the difficulty is you never quite know what's going to happen. And two dogs get out there, they can be just as friendly as can be, and they can tear into one another. And especially there are people who walk their dogs on leashes, and then a dog comes running over, and one dog's leashed and one's not. A human's involved, and that's a bad scene.
So what makes Doggy Beach, in particular, a problem to let dogs run free, since I believe they can also run free in Hume Park?
Well, any place there are lots of people, dogs running free is a problem. And I think that the county has a leash law that all dogs have to be under control. And my understanding is that can be without a leash. And there are some dogs that are well-mannered and well-trained that can do that. But I'm not sure that the ruling says that you can have them at Hugh McRae Park run free. I think they're supposed to be on a leash there too. And of course Wrightsville Beach prohibits dogs on the beach during some times of the year, leash or not. So this is really, I guess, an opportunity for dogs to interact with the water. And for many people, they sort of feel that the dogs need to be free.
Is there any other site that you think would be more suitable for dogs? Because I mean, when I was a child, we used to have a black lab, and dogs. I mean, especially certain dogs, just absolutely love water and
They do.
running around and terrorizing around. So, is there any place that you feel would be better suited for them?
Well, there are certainly areas in the country where dogs run free, and many farms have dogs that have real function on those farms. It's one of the problems we have with pets. One of the greatest difficulties, one of the big problems for bird populations are wild and domestic cats. This is becoming a greater and greater environmental problem. Most people don't see it that way, but those people who follow wild populations of animals recognize it as a large problem of animals running loose. Dogs are not typically a problem, although occasionally, even in the country, wildlife officers are forced to shoot dogs that hunt deer and run deer. And packs of wild dogs, and that wild designation just means they're running together in kind of a natural form. They may be domestic animals and return home at night. They do cause a lot of problems in the country. And once the density of people gets so great, and we have that density in New Hanover County, there really just can't be places where dogs can run wild.
So we haven't talked about the problem of dogs going to the bathroom on the beach. What are the issues surrounding that?
Well, I don't think there's going to be a great change in that. I don't believe the number of dogs is going to decline I think they'll be on leashes, but I will be surprised when I see people picking up dog refuse. I think by and large people are just going to walk their dogs and let it fall where it falls and be carried away with the tides. The good news is that that site has always flushed well and will continue to flush well. So I don't see it as being a serious environmental issue.
Most of the tidal flats back there are, how much are they affected by the tides? I mean, are they well underwater at high tide? Or?
Well, it depends on the elevation, obviously. But the marshes are well flooded, and even some of the sand flats are well flooded. And given the quiet nature that they now enjoy, they'll essentially be re-inhabited by marsh grasses.
So you think the whole area behind what's now Riceville Beach is going to turn into marsh and just fill in with sand?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And this is a natural process. Many of these inlets migrate naturally across the islands and they close up. And as they migrate, there's this disturbance that goes on behind and the immigration of a lot of sand from the ocean side into the marshes, essentially keeping them up at sea level. So this isn't a bad thing. This is a natural process that allows those marshes to keep up with sea level rise. And ultimately, as this new inlet migrates down, unless they're able to keep it where they think they're going to keep it, it's going to continue to bring sand in. And I think the biggest cost issue is ultimately going to be not the dogs and perhaps not even keeping it in place. It's going to be the sand driven through that inlet, filling in the intracoastal waterway, and then the intracoastal waterway having to be dredged. That's a major thoroughfare that the federal government pays to keep open. And the residents of Figure 8 Island have agreed to pay that cost. And I believe that they're going to be quite surprised at what that cost is going to be.
How often does the federal government dredge their coastal anyway?
Every time it needs it.
Yeah, it's got to be kept open.
It's got to be kept open, and of course the reason it fills in is because there's some sediment source close by. And if you get close to any of the inlets, that's where the sediment typically comes from, and along our area it comes from the ocean in. And many years ago, when Mason's Inlet was open to Mason's Channel coming into the intracoastal, after any major northeaster, they'd often have to come dredge that out because it would shoal in so much that barges would run aground. So my guess is if they keep that open, they're going to continually have to be dredging that. We'll see. It's a grand experiment.
How do you feel about dredging? As far as the destroying habitat?
Well, I think that dredging has been here a long time, and historically dredging was a fairly small affair, removing shoals, trying to keep channels straight and open. And largely those sediments they were moving were ones that were pretty mobile anyway. They were moving around. The habitats that's there is a kind of habitat inhabited quickly, and the animals that live there don't have long lifespans. So I don't think that in general that kind of dredging has a major impact. As you start increasing the scale, of course, there's just more area involved. But again, the same kinds of sediments ultimately involved and the same kinds of outcomes. The problem becomes when you start doing very massive dredging projects with large amounts of sediment, maybe cutting more deeply into the bottom. And then it can become more important. And there can be positive and negative impacts. I mean, some of the positive ones are sometimes there's hard bottom created, which doesn't exist very much out here. And that can be positive. And there, of course, can be negative impacts, especially if you dredge through previous areas that haven't been dredged. And some of that did happen in the project opening up the new inlet. There were some marshes that were destroyed, and they're going to be replaced with created marshes. The net effect will probably be the same, but the short term there might have been some impact.
I heard someone's opinion that said part of the reason Mason's Inlet was migrating so fast was because behind Figure 8, they kept that area dredged out for, there's a little bay up there, they have little boats and stuff. They kept that dredged out, and they said that might have increased the velocity of the water coming down. And so when it had to cut and turn the corner there to go out in the ocean, it was going so fast laterally.
Well, I think that there are a number of theories like that, and although they did deepen that area, the amount of volume flowing in and out didn't have anything to do with the deepening. It has to do with how much water flows through that channel that goes up there and comes in close to where the Figure 8 Island Bridge is. And I don't think that probably is a viable hypothesis in the big scheme of things. I would be willing to bet that it probably had more to do with the configuration of both Masonboro Inlet and Rich's Inlet, because essentially when they opened up and keep the Masonboro Inlet open, that means a greater volume of the water that comes in and out can go in and out there more easily. And what I think happened was the volume that was going in and out of Mason's Inlet just dropped a little more. And the theory is that once the amount of water coming in and out drops a certain amount, the inlets move faster. They need a certain volume to keep their inlets stable. And also Rich's Inlet has gone through some deepening too that might have had some effect. And then lastly, this inlet has shown a long history of migrating and closing. And most of the time when they get near the end, when they start getting ready to close, they migrate pretty quickly. If there hadn't been a Shell Island resort there, my bet is that the inlet would have probably stopped somewhere close to where it ended up.
Yeah, that's a whole other documentary. The Shell Island resort.
That's another, and citizens in New Hanover County just basically forked up $100,000 for each of those units, because that's about the increase in value. It was a good deal to buy some of those units when they were very low priced. Although I don't think that place is out of the woods yet. I believe the Shell Island Resort is going to struggle in terms of other problems, not just the inlet. I think they're going to have ocean erosion too. Right now, there's
is opening this new inlet and dredging it going to affect the beach surrounding it?
Oh, sure. The big bulk of sand that was protecting Shell Island from ocean erosion is now going to essentially meld onto the shoreline. There's no source of sand coming in and out. And at least temporarily, they've got a little sand out there from the dredging. The question will be whether that stays there and whether they then have erosion or whether it lasts long enough for the inlet to get back. If they keep the inlet where it is, I think the Shell Island Resort is going to have extensive oceanic erosion, just constant, unless there's a constant dredging to put sediment back there.
Will they do it every, 6 months or a year? Or?
Not there.
Not there?
No, the renourishment ends at the Sunspree Resort. So the whole part of Shell Island does not get renourished.
And why does it stop there? Can't they just...
The federal project, originally Wrightsville Beach only extended up to the end of Wrightsville Beach, not Shell Island. And so the federal government has never authorized the dredging placement of spoil up there. It can be done by the county or private individuals, but that's very expensive.
Can you think of anything else? That's it.
Okay.
Good. Well, you don't think dredging is a problem then? That kind of streamlined itself.
Well, it is something.
It's in the communication settings. How often do you take your dogs out here?
About twice a week.
Yeah. Have you had any problems with them getting in fights or anything like that?
No.
Not at all. Yeah. Cool. Did you hear about the new leash law they got out here? They used to be able to run free out here.
Our dogs just were.
Yeah? Well, they got a new law now to where you have to have them on a leash out here.
Oh, really?
Do you think they should be allowed to run free? Or?
I think that if your dogs, if you know your dogs and they know how to act, then yeah. But some people know that their dogs are aggressive and they keep them on the leash, and that's fine. Because our dogs really don't mess with mean dogs, so.
Yeah, that's true. Do you scoop up after the dogs?
No. Where they come out here, she doesn't have to go. It's just like she goes through the motions or something. No, we make sure they.
Got it good. You want to go too, huh? It makes you look all cool and shit.
Yep.
You think I don't?
Yep. Blue filter cow?
Yeah.
Look at that. I like that little lunging jaw there. Good. Okay. Good sign.
Yeah, I kind of want to get one from kind of down the street, maybe, so you can see what's around it, you know? Actually, I'll show you.
Polar is supposed to take the glare out of shit, right? What else, yeah?
Kind of weird.
Get it?
Getting it.
Get it? Get it? Got it? Good.
Coming after you. What's that, 1,000?
Did you piss?
No, I didn't piss, dude.
Why the fuck, I was trying to speed up the shutter so we would.
Dogs like? What are those dogs like?
First question is, what do you think about the inlet move?
Inlet move? I really don't like the idea of changing the natural course of the inlet, because doing that, we're gonna have there's gonna be other consequences with that. You know, down the beach, there's gonna be further erosion down the beach, and so it's gonna mess up the whole system. But then again, they're trying to save Shell Island, but they should have never have built there anyway. You know, they know.
Awesome. Next question is, how often do you come to Doggy Beach?
During the summertime and in the winter, I usually come, at least, 3 to 5 days a week. Usually come down here for about an hour, 5 days a week, definitely.
Okay. Just a little side note, if you could kind of include part of the question into the answers, just kind of a reference point, like you're making a statement rather than asking a question.
Okay.
All right?
His voice is not going to be on, so kind of.
Yeah, my voice isn't going to be on there. It's just going to be you.
I got you.
Okay. Next question is, what brings you to Doggy Beach?
I come to Doggy Beach. This is the only place at Wrightsville Beach that you could bring your dog and come down here and hang out with friends and have my dog. Let him play with other dogs. It's just a great place to be. It's the only place at the beach you can take a dog, and it's just real nice and peaceful in the surrounding marsh area.
What do you know about the new leash law?
I really don't. I've just heard different things from different people. I heard that they had to be on a leash, but then again, I heard that you couldn't even bring your dog down here.
So you're not too. It's kind of like the county hasn't been too well informing people.
The county hasn't informed us of anything too much. They need to put an ad in the paper and just pass out flyers or just give us more information, because a lot of it's hearsay what we're hearing about the new leash law.
Cool. What problems do you see the dogs posing this here?
Some of the problems I think that a lot of people have brought up about dogs being down here is their fecal matter disrupting the natural balance of the marsh back there, adding too much nitrogen into the marshland. But after they're changing the inlet, do they not think that that's going to, have any harm to the marsh? So I think it's just, they're pretty, there's some kind of double standard going on. They're going to move a marsh, which is millions and millions of dollars it costs, but yet they're worried about dog excrement.
Awesome. Good answer. Have you ever seen a dog attack a bird here before?
No, no dogs can catch a bird down here. Many dogs will try, but it's pretty futile for a dog to try to attack a bird because they're just way too fast for them. Never seen it.
And do you scoop up after your pet?
Yes, I do. I scoop up after my pet. I always bring down a little bag with me. My bag's right over over there by my cooler, and I always pick up after my dog.
Cool. That's it, man. That's all the questions we have.
Great.
Usually don't like long poles sticking out at me. Start off by stating your name, spelling your name, and then yeah. Go ahead.
Are you rolling?
Yeah.
Is it okay if we use this on a little documentary?
No, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's cool. You're in the shot.
Oh, am
All right, if you could, when I
You're
ask you a
shot.
question, if you could just kind of state it like you're making a statement
Right.
instead of answering a question, because otherwise
Right.
limits to where we can use it.
So you want it to be more like I'm saying, hey, I'm Mark Queen, this is for, or you want a question and answer type?
It's
Be
like
able
the-
to elaborate.
The question is not going to be in the documentary. So if he says like,
Oh,
how often do you come out here? Don't just say 5 days. Just be like, I come out here.
okay. All right, go ahead and just take the question. All right.
Yeah.
All right, what brings you to Doggy Beach?
Doggy Beach, I come out here a lot. I drive down from Raleigh about every 3 or 4 weekends. Have a place down here, Wrightsville Dunes. And I usually have my doggy with me, but not this weekend. And really, I'm not so sure. This is the first time I've checked out the whole new scene. I haven't been down here in 6 or 7 months. And not sure I like the idea of walking over to Figure 8 or being able to swim that quickly. But not owning a place here, I know these people are relieved. I know a lot of people were able to buy these places really cheap and then make a quick buck when they found out it was getting saved and the values went up so much. But anything to save the beach, definitely. I'm glad the state pumped in the money, ponied up.
Hey, do you want him to look at me, or you want him to look at the camera? Does it matter if you do that? All right. All right, well, how often do you come down here?
Come down here about once out of every 4 weeks, once a month. Sometimes twice once the season kicks in.
Okay. Have you already heard anything about the new leash law?
No, that's all they need is a new leash law that you already couldn't. It's not a dog-friendly beach, which is a turnoff. It's one of the only turnoffs to me at Wrightsville Beach. It's getting a little overcrowded, and no dogs is huge. But what about the new leash law?
Well, you can't have your dogs on leash at all.
Even here?
Yeah, anymore. Yeah, because they've been
You're kidding.
supposedly destroying birds' habitats. And, stressing them out.
Yeah. What did that destroy? Mm.
So what do you think about
Yeah.
that? The fact that you can't. I mean, you used to let your dogs run free and
Yeah.
splash the water.
Yeah, not being able to let your dog out is ridiculous. On a beach that you've been coming to for 15, 20 years and not being able to bring your dog down here, I mean, that's insane. Even limiting them to here was bad enough, but now you're just pretty much asking anybody that's got a serious pet situation to go to Bald Head and buy there or go anywhere else.
Well, one of the main problems that they talked about, the reason they put that leash law in effect, was how the birds, after the birds migrated back here for the summer, they were tired and exhausted. I mean, it's part of their life cycle, and once they go down to nest, and they say they nest out in these marshes and things like that, the dogs were coming up on them, and normally a bird would be able to get away from a dog, but them being so tired and nesting, not being aware, it stressed them out, and like they were actually getting attacked. They said.
Might have happened isolated. I've been bringing a dog down here a long time, never seen a bird attacked by a dog ever down here. Never. That has to be so isolated, it's insane.
What do you think it would look like if the dog did attack a bird?
Well, dogs have done that and they will forever. That's just nature.
But it's mainly because of the type of birds that are being attacked are endangered species. Of the types of birds.
What are they?
The piping plover.
Yeah.
Is one of them. What do you say? Dump ducks. I don't know.
It doesn't care. I'm for dogs out here.
Yeah. I don't know how many
It would
piping.
be a funny sight though to see a dog jump up on a bird. To
On
see
a
a big
piping
cloud of
plover.
feathers going up.
Yeah, I don't think many of them. Most of these dogs that are out in the water and get out there, Labrador retrievers, and they usually aren't going to eat a bird, just for the heck of it. But if it happened, it happened. Those birds have survived a long time here with with dogs, and they can nest other places.
Okay. When you bring your pet down here, do you scoop up after your pet?
Tell you what, my pet generally goes on the sand dune right outside my condo, and I cover it up with sand.
Do you have any ideas that the county could do to better this beach instead of take away the rights of people who bring the dogs in?
I need to find somewhere where it's not a nesting site and designate it as a dog-friendly area. You need to have an alternative. The beach is big enough that some space needs to be roped off where a dog can get in the water. You can bring a dog to get it out of your house. Too many people have pets to ruin a vacation spot.
Do you see the dogs posing any problems for anybody rather than for the birds?
No, I think if the whole beach was you're allowed to have a dog, I've seen it where just everybody brings a dog. There's dog fights, dogs everywhere, dogs messing with kids. But, for the most part, the way it's been run the last few years, there hadn't been any problems with dogs down here. This is one of the few beaches you'll never see a dog.
Okay, you got what do you thought about the inlet move itself? What do you think about the inlet move itself? Do you think it's
I'm
gonna
for
be-
it. Save as much beach as you can for as long as you can. I don't want to see a structure like this have to get taken down into the water. So I think it's good for the state to spend its money protecting the beaches.
And that structure being Shell Island?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Say that.
Yeah, I like the fact that Shell Island has been saved. No desire to see it erode away.
Okay, that's it.
All right, appreciate you.
I appreciate it,
Thanks a
bro.
lot, Mark.
Beach.
Well, just came down for the weekend with my buddy Mark is over here, and just thought we'd walk down here and see what they're doing at Shell Island.
Could you rephrase and make a statement?
Okay. Came down to the beach this weekend and just to see. I don't know. Gosh, I'm not good at this.
Don't worry about the camera. Continue to
So-
Chase.
So we were in Raleigh this morning and we got a wild hair and we decided we'd come down to the beach, and that's how we ended up right here.
Do you come down here often, and if so, how often?
I usually don't come down to Wrightsville Beach. I used to go to Atlantic Beach because we have a place down there. It's a little easier for us to get down there.
So you don't come here often at all? Like once a year, once every 6 months, something like that?
Actually, in the summertime, I probably come down about once a month here too. 'Cause it's pretty. I know a few people down here, so we come down here some.
And where'd you say you're from?
I'm from Raleigh.
Do you mind if we put this in our documentary? Go ahead and get that
You were
out.
supposed to get you to like sign something, but we don't have any of that.
Well, you get a verbal. Yes, you can use it for your documentary.
Have you heard anything about the new leash law? I know you come down here once a month.
I heard about the new leash law just recently. I think on the whole, leash law is a good thing. Not because the dogs are bad, it's because the owners just don't take care of the dogs and they let the dogs interfere with the animals, the birds and stuff. But, if the owners aren't going to be responsible, then I guess you have to have laws that protect the situation.
Have you ever seen a dog attack a bird or attack another dog or attack a person?
I've seen hunt dogs attack quail before, but not a pet. Just a pet out and about. Never seen anything like that. That seems to me kind of rare.
Come on, Jay, pick it up, bro.
Do you scoop up after your pet? Do you have a pet, first of all?
Yeah, I have a little blue tick coonhound. She's about 50 pounds. So she makes a little mess, but usually at the beach, she'll go out by the water, and Unfortunately, I'd probably just let it go the other way. But if it was required that I had to pick it up or get it up, I probably would. It's usually Atlantic Beach is really not that. They're not really that bad about it, like they are here, I guess. So.
What do you think the county can do to better the beach rather than take away the rights of the people to bring the dogs up?
Is it the county or the city? It's the county that has the rules?
Yeah, well,
City
rights for beach.
Well, I mean, I think that there really is no good answer as far as the leash laws go. You're going to have people on both sides, obviously. If the responsibility, if the owners aren't responsible enough to watch after their dogs, then they have to have leash laws, and I really don't see any other alternative that the county could have, except maybe have some designated areas. Like I would think this area here would be a good designated area because I don't really see, it's all new sand. It's not like it's a established wildlife area, and that you could take your dogs and throw frisbee and stuff like that. Oh, you want to ask about Shell Island, my opinion on Shell Island?
Yeah.
Damn, that was the whole thing I was excited about.
Okay, go ahead.
Frankly, I think they should have left the beach like it was and let the place fall into the ocean or tear it down one. When they built this building, they knew that the inlet was moving, and they basically felt like that the state was going to give in sooner or later, and the state didn't give in, and for a long time, and it never moved fast enough so that it would get rid of it. And now something's happened, some politics somewhere has happened, they've saved this building, and I don't think that we should as taxpayers pay for it, and I don't know if it's probably the best thing for the inlet, so tell you that.
Sticky noise, sticky noise. See if I can poop for you. Remember that dog you say poop all the time? Shit was funny.
Poop on you.
I poop on you. What'd he say?
I poop on you.
How'd he say it?
Poop on you.
I poop.
I don't know if this old dude's just exercising or what. He seems like he's a local, so he is just in the right quarter.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wave him over here.
Huh?
Just holler.
Shitting, but I can't really get a good look at him from the fucking.
Dog is shitting? Good.
But he's in the bushes.
That's good. He's in the bushes. I can really see like this.
Here comes that old dude.
Poop old dude.
Yes, he's covering it up right now.
The dude is covering up the poop. What's going on right now?
They're making love.
They're making love.
See if we can get this guy in the camera.
Easy like Sunday morning. Yeah.
You ask questions.
It's a dog right behind you, Jace. It's a little cutie dog, man. Check it out.